Hey guys, so I'm just going to correct the homework question that I set for you that I had hoped to get covered in class yesterday, but I didn't. Okay, so 35 people are coming back from America were asked if they had visited New York, Boston or San Francisco. So I'm just going to call, first of all, I'm going to write my U in here. So I have U equals 35 and I'm just going to call this N and I'm going to call this B. And then finally I'm going to call this S, and that's my New York, Boston and San Francisco. Okay, first of all, I can see they've given me how many have been in each city. I really want to find out my very, very centre region here. That's the most important thing to find out first, if I can. And I can see that they have this here. So 7 had been to all 3 cities. So 7 goes in there, and I can tick that off. Okay, so unusually what they do here is they give you your information. They've actually given you what some of the sections are. So we have 3 had been to New York and San Francisco. So when we look, New York and San Francisco, but not Boston. So we're not talking about here. So that means that 3 just goes in here. Then we have 1 had been to New York and Boston, but not San Francisco. So that goes in there. And we'll just tick them off. And then finally we have 8 had been to Boston and San Francisco. Now that tells us that 8 goes into this whole section here. We already have 7 in the middle section. So that tells me that 1 will go in here. And then finally we'll be able to use our little bit of information up the top. So our information up the top said that 20 had visited New York. So what I'm going to do here on my calculator, I'm going to put in 20 minus 3 minus 7 minus 1, and that will give me 9 people who had only been to New York. So we've done that one. 13 had visited Boston. So I'm going to take 13, because remember 13 represents this whole circle here, and I already have some numbers filled in. So 13 minus 7 minus 1 minus 1 will give me 4 people. And then finally for the bottom part down here, I have San Francisco had 16 people in total. And of course I already have some areas filled in. So 16 minus 7 minus 3 minus 1, I get 5 in total. Okay, last thing I need to do is I need to check and see by adding all of these numbers here, do I get 35? And if I don't get 35, then I know that some people coming back from America didn't go to any of these cities. So let's look. We have 9 plus 3 plus 7 plus 1 plus 4 plus 1 plus 5. That gives me 30. So that means that 5 people in total didn't go to any of those cities at all. Okay, just to answer these questions, I just put a really small version of my diagram here and just some of the information, because I might need some of that information. Okay, so the first one says, if one person is chosen at random from the group, what is the probability that that person had not visited any of these 3 cities? Well, the people who had not visited any of these 3 cities were these 5 people here. So we are looking at 5 over the total. So sorry, first of all, remember P none equals 5. That's my total possible outcomes of that event happening over my total number of outcomes. That's 35. So I get 1 over 7. The next question asks, if one person is chosen at random, what is the probability that that person had visited New York only? So again, if we look up here at our diagram, we have 9 is the answer for New York only. So we'll put P, I'm just going to put NY only, equals to 9 over 35, and that's it in its simplified form. The last one, if one person is chosen at random, what is the probability that the person had visited Boston or New York? Okay, so this one's a little bit trickier. You can see here, Boston is all of these people here, or New York. And it doesn't have anything like only or anything like that. So we're just looking at these people and these people. So what I'll actually need to do there is to find the probability of Boston or New York. Okay, so I first of all have to count up all of these numbers that is in this region here. So I'm just going to highlight it so you can see a little bit better. I'm going to be looking at all of the people that are here and all of the people that is in this region as well. So N union B, okay? And that's, yes, that includes some people who had been to San Francisco as well. But that's the question asks us, the person just had to have visited Boston or New York. So let's go ahead then and add those regions up. So we get 9 plus 3 plus 7 plus 1 plus 1 plus 4. And that goes over our total number of outcomes, which is 35. And what I get is 25 over 35, which gives me 5 over 7.